a lot to look forward to. But we're gonna go ahead and start it off with Dogs of the Week as we always do. We can start with Noah's. He has phoned his in place for himself to get some love on this guy. I think Drew, you probably have his stats up right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're going out west for this one. Not the school, but where the game was played. Gonna give a shout out to Tyler Warren out of Penn State, wearing the all whites. Man had 17 receptions for 224 yards and a touchdown in what needed to be a comeback win over the USC Trojans. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to speak for Noah here, but this is not Noah's story. I had the under in this game. It was my lock. That was trashed with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I personally did not know that Penn State knew how to score that many points. Drew Aller had not a great day, but a good day. He made some key plays when necessary. And, Tyler Warren was a key part of that and keeping the offense rolling and keeping Penn State in it and, helping with the comeback. So it's a pretty good dog of the week, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. And although Drew Aller did not have a perfect day, I will say, interceptions aside, seeing that kind of production from him through the air is encouraging if you're a Penn State fan, I think. Mm-hmm. Their identity on offense up until this point in the season has largely been keeping it on the ground for a good reason. One of the best running back tandems back there in the entire country, you could argue. So they were able to get it done through the air. And, if I'm USC, that's probably a game plan. I want Drew Aller to beat me with his arm through the air. And he did. So
he did. You game planned correctly. No disrespect to Drew Aller, but, we literally dedicated an entire video towards the end of the offseason breaking down Drew Aller spring tape.
It was like deep into the offseason. We were analyzing spring tape. It was a dark time, but yes. The tape, you can go back and find it. I might link it in the description if you really want to see it. But I think it was almost like a low lights cut, or either that or the game was just that bad.
I think
a lot of miscommunications and bad balls and stuff like that. But credit to him and James Franklin and Penn State. They're looking good this year, and if there's any year to do it, it's right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but
we'll touch more on that later. I feel like we'll keep that for the recap section. I can go ahead and hop into my dog real quick.
Go for it.
I have a main one, and then I have a supplementary one based on my main one. So I'm taking it out west, actually, this time. Eugene, Oregon, the biggest matchup of the day. We'll touch on more specifics of the game a little later, but I will say Dylan Gabriel balled out. Not his best game statistically. Not bad. He went 23 for 34, 341 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. So you're pushing 350 through the air, 2 touchdowns. I would just say on the stage, huge stage. I know it was a home game, but there's a lot of people out there doubting Oregon, calling them fraudulent. I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand and say I was one of them. So, I think the way that they went out there and played and executed, played a pretty clean game from Dylan Gabriel and kind of steered that ship in the right direction, and they won the game. One of the most impressive wins of the season on the resume for Oregon now. And then supplementary speaking, I'm going Evan Stewart in this game. He had 7 receptions for 149 yards and a touchdown. For those at home that can't do quick math in their head, that is 21.3 yards per catch there. So great showing from Oregon. Like I said, we'll touch on that more later.
Yeah.
But my dog is Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, good deal. So I'm going to, take it to a game that I'm pretty sure that, everybody was flipping back and forth on if you didn't have the second screen just because of how the game was shaping up. But we're heading to Death Valley where the Bayou Bengals took down the Rebs 29-26 in overtime. I feel like in that environment, on that stage and with those implications that LSU is facing for the rest of the season, got to give it to Kyron Lacey, the wide receiver. The man had 5 receptions for 111 yards. That's averaging 22.2 yards a catch for 1 touchdown. And you're like, oh, well, Drew, 1 touchdown. That's not that impressive. Well, it was the walk-off touchdown in overtime to seal the victory and, more importantly, for LSU to cover.
That's all that matters.
Yeah,
really.
it's all that matters. Doesn't really make a difference whether they're undefeated in conference play or not. But no, I mean, really, really great game. I could very easily give this to Garrett Nussmeier, but as I've gone on record, I don't like making this a quarterback award. And he did have 2 picks, so yeah. But he still, 337 yards and 3 touchdowns for Garrett. But on 51 attempts, he only completed 22 of them. So I feel like it was just a high volume day for the LSU passing attack. Yeah, which is good because they only had a combined 84 rushing yards. So, shout out to the Rebels front 7 there, but I understand that Garrett Nussmeier is one of the true gunslingers still left in college football, and yeah, Kyron Lacey was on the receiving end of that and took care of business. So,
yeah, man. Hey.
Great
I feel
games.
kind of similarly.
Yeah.
With Nussmeier to Aller. Obviously, Aller had a bit of a better performance, but Nussmeier didn't get discouraged. With the interceptions, a lot of volume. Just keep slinging it, man. You never know what'll happen if you keep slinging it.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what he did. So, you take away those interceptions. Obviously a different ball game. You could say that in any game, but to not let that impact you.
Yeah.
And even with his completion percentage, it's easy to get. I feel like get in your head and get down on yourself as a quarterback when you make mistakes like that. But he let it roll off his back, and they came out in overtime. Huge win for LSU. A brutal blow to Ole Miss. Jackson Dart said it himself, and I think it was the post-game presser. They got to win out.
They got to win out.
You got to be perfect from here on out. That's their only chance. To really do anything.
Yeah, and so. I think that this is a very obvious statement, but like the loss to Kentucky at home is really coming back to bite them in the ass, because even if they win that game by a point, losing at LSU at night in overtime isn't that big of a blemish. And then
it's excusable.
It's excusable in a 12-team playoff format. You could easily still be in the top 10, even if you lose that game and lose to Georgia down the line. In a hypothetical world, you're a 2-loss team where those 2 are your only losses. Those are very excusable. There's still a path for you to get into the postseason, but yeah, you got to win out, like he said. So maybe not the rest of the country may not care about this game, but like it did have playoff implications one way or another.
Yeah.
Because LSU is still undefeated in conference play, and their postseason chances are still very much alive.
Very much.
So
it's completely different.
We'll probably touch on that later, but as you can tell, I'm chomping at the bit.
We love to talk ball. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap Dogs of the Week. So those are our Dogs of the Week. Let us know in the comments who you would nominate for this, who your Dog of the Week was, who balled out, in your opinion. There's a lot of good performances, a lot of good games this weekend, but those are our guys that we think deserved the shine after this weekend.